Oh my God, am I unmuted?
No, you need to mute.
Good evening, everybody. The City of Peabody Zoning Board of Appeals meets remotely tonight in accordance with Massachusetts general laws, say that fast, Chapter 40A and Governor Baker's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Individuals may participate remotely in the meeting via a participation platform called Zoom. Tonight's hearing will be conducted in the following manner. The secretary will read the legal notice. The chairwoman will invite the applicant or applicant's representative to present to the board. The chair may limit the length of all remarks. All parties will be given an opportunity to speak in favor or opposition and must keep to the subject. The board may receive similar written communications to be placed on the public record as long as they are received in a timely fashion. The chair will also ask those who would like to speak either in favor or against to use the raise hand feature. Those calling via telephone will be asked if they would like to speak on the matter. Anyone with their hand raised will be called upon, unmuted, and speak on the matter at hand. You must first state your name and address for the record and identify if you are in favor or in opposition. The applicant will be afforded time to answer any of the questions posed. Once all questions by abutters and board members are answered, the board will vote. The chair will ask for a roll call vote. Chair will reiterate the outcome, either it's approved or it's not approved. The applicant may log off at that point and will receive an email with instructions on Tuesday. The chair will move to the next agenda item and reserves the right to change the order, which I am not going to do. Tonight, everything will be heard in order. Please be prepared to present at any time during the proceeding. So please make sure that you put *9 to raise your hand. And if you're calling by phone, identify yourself. I will ask you that anyway. And also, so when it's your turn, you have to unmute yourself in order for us to hear you. And we will all be muted because and if you're in the house with somebody else, turn off any other devices because it causes feedback. I don't know the technological term, but that's okay. I didn't forget it. Okay, we're going to begin with, we have a continued application of the residents of Farm Ave, care of Attorney Panos. So that will not be read tonight because it's continued. And we would like to continue that until December 14th. He's asking for a continuance, and December 14th would be the next time that we would hear it. So I need a motion to accept the continuance and for the date and a second and then a vote. The floor is all yours, people.
Motion to accept the continuance to December 14th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Great. We are
Through the chair, if I could.
Sure.
All right. In regard to that last motion, could we send a communication to Attorney Panos to say that we really appreciated page 2 of the notice, but unfortunately, I followed all the lines and I still didn't find the buried treasure. So I just don't understand what this is, okay? And that it looks like there's a lot of water pipes running up in the vicinity, but a little explanation of what it is and how it's going to take care of improving the water situation that was brought up by the neighbors at the initial meeting would be appreciated. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Councilor Osborne. I mean, CBA member Osborne. So you can see the pandemic is getting to me a little bit. I really just want to see all of you in person, and that will happen soon, I'm sure. Is Attorney Kelty? Okay, Attorney Kelty is with us now, and we're now going to number 2, which is another continued application of 128 Newberry Street. So, Attorney Kelty, you are on.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson and members of the City of Peabody City Council. I am John Kelty. I'm an attorney. I have offices at 40 Lowell Street in Peabody, Massachusetts, and I appear this evening on behalf of what is it? Peabody North LLC, which is the manager is Jim Sheridan, and Jim is here this evening in my office with me. We're not on the camera, are we? No.
Why? What if you were?
Oh, I had a
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
no, I had a procedure today called Blu-ray, and
We don't
even,
want to know. We don't want to know.
even fluorescent, I would be sitting here. If I had my lights on, I'd have to sit with a hat. In any event,
Wait, in any event, just to make sure that you understood your little slip of the tongue, you addressed us as the city council. You really meant the ZBA, right?
Zoning Board of Appeals here in the city of Peabody.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. We're here to discuss variance which was presented to the board at the last meeting. At the last meeting, the board decided to recess this matter so that they could address a number of questions that were outstanding in the eyes of the board. We provided a memorandum that tried to explain the current status of some of the properties that show on our plan. My memorandum to the board, which was submitted shortly after the last meeting, suggests that the plans in front of you are dated April 13th. I believe your plans are dated August 10th. Is that the case? Yeah, and it is the same plan, although I referenced April 13th. It is the same plan. What we show on that plan, if you look at it, you see a crosshatch area right above the word Newbury, which is telling you where Newbury Street is. That cross-hatched area extends to the west, which is upward toward the top of the page, and it heads to an area where there are plantings. There are 24 parking spaces. There is another area where there are 12 parking spaces being shown. This is the area that is impacted by this variance. We are immediately adjacent to 8 Winona Realty Trust. We have called out 3 variances. One, which is a setback of 79.6 feet at the upper corner of our proposed parking lot. The second variance is an area which is 27.2 feet from the property line. That is the lower corner of the 24 parking space lot. And there is a third area of relief which says it is 32.7, and that area is the distance from 8 Winona Realty Trust to the proposed 12 spaces it is our intention to install. These spaces are being provided to satisfy an old understanding and agreement with predecessors in title to provide additional parking for to provide parking off of the site at 128 where the bridal wedding dress shop is. The dress shop occupies the entire second floor of the building shown on lot 1 on your plan. And it had been agreed that they would be provided with a certain amount of parking located in front of the billiards parlor. That billiards parlor wants to be purchased by Jim Sheridan. Jim needs to remove the parking from that lot and place it over on lot 1 so that it can be utilized by the women that own the bridal shop. They have, or dress shop. They have provided you with a letter exhibiting their support. They are not the applicants in as much as they are not the owners of the land in question. And we are proposing to finalize our agreements with them by locating these additional 24 plus 12, 36 spaces as shown on our plan. And we seek the variances that have been advertised for this evening and for the last meeting. The zoning in that particular area calls for any parking areas, structures, provides for a landscape buffer of 100 feet. We are seeking modification and variance from that 100 feet to allow us to install the 24 unit parking space and the 12 unit parking spaces. So that's all that is before the board this evening. That is what the variances are for. The variances are to accommodate this parking where it is shown on this plan. We have reached out to the folks that live in the house, which shows as 8 Winona Realty Trust. We have asked them to communicate with us. We've done so by ringing the doorbell, by knocking on their door, and by also dropping letters off at their houses. They have expressed no resistance, but at the same time, they haven't even met with my client Jim on the site. So apparently, in my estimation, they didn't have an issue with what we're proposing. They were given copies of the plan, etc. We're happy to answer further questions that the board may have. Jim is here. So we're here to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you, Jack. Questions by the board?
To the chair, I'll start if I could. Just to Attorney Kelty, Jack, I was confused before and I'm still confused. What is the intention of Peabody's North when it comes to that entire sectional piece of property?
Peabody North will be, Jim, you'll be purchasing the lots 2 shown on that plan, lots 2 where the billiard parlor is, and lot 3, which is toward the rear, the upper portion of the lot. There is not a plan in place at the current time as to what would be occurring on the lot where the billiard parlor is, nor is there a plan in place at the time which would utilize the property shown as lot 3. There is a storage facility, but that is to the far left. That's on lot 4, I believe.
Therein lies my problem, Jack. All right, is that we talk about these parking spaces, and in my estimation, I see the parking spaces is a 90-year lease. Nothing about an easement. It's a lease. It was a lease. I don't know who. It's a deal between 2 people. Somebody leased from the landowner, which I think was probably at the time South Pike.
Marchese.
South Pike, Marchese.
Yep.
Okay, so he's bound to that lease. Okay. So if we give any variance to anything that goes on regarding lots 2 and 3 and whatever, we're basically given a variance for a project that no one knows what it is. No one knows what it is. There's things being considered. There's hotels being considered. There's medical related services being considered. It's a combination of 2.9 acres and 1.24 acres minus the land that's going to be the parking spaces, and those parking spaces aren't, there's no easement, it's still gonna, if it's a lease, it's still owned by, right now, South Pike, soon to be Peabody North, I guess. He hasn't purchased this land yet. It's still owned by South Pike.
Well, if I could add, this is Jim Sheridan. The 90-year lease is in front of the pool hall building for a number of spaces. And that property right now has zero value. I wouldn't buy it with a 90-year lease. It's 90-year lease at $1 a year. It makes that land worthless. I've worked out an arrangement with the girls that own the dress shop where if I can get the relief I need to get the 24 plus the 12 spaces on that side, on the right side of the easement, the road going up, then they will terminate the lease with Marchese with South Pike. And then I can go ahead and buy that. I cannot buy it with that lease on there.
And that frees up the 1.24 acres that can be
Correct.
combined with your 2.59 acres, which could be a pretty big problem, pretty big project that we're given a variance that we don't even know what it is. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not inclined to do that.
But you're not giving a variance for if you grant this variance, then the result of that would be the parking lots that show on the plan before you, and those would begun right after the first of the year and be in the ground on the site early next spring.
You're trying to shift the burden for those parking spaces from land that you can combine with your other 5.9 acres and for land for a project that we don't even know what it is.
Well, we're
Well,
not,
we don't either.
we're not sure what we're gonna do either, but we can't do anything with it.
Exactly. Well, then why do you need a variance?
We want to tear down the building and move the
Tear it down.
parking,
You own it.
but we want to move the parking to an area more convenient to the bridal shop itself or the dress shop itself.
I don't buy.
Can I just intervene? First of all, and this is just my opinion, I find it inappropriate to keep referring to the owners of the Ultimate as the girls. I mean, they have names. And the other thing is, and I said it last time, why aren't the owners of the Ultimate also involved? Because it seems like they are involved, but they're not here being involved.
Well, they've
Okay,
given us a-
Barry.
They've given us a letter
They
supporting,
gave us the letters.
which you have a copy of.
Right. And listen, I don't want to be disrespectful, and maybe it's just my opinion. My opinion is you're shifting the burden for those parking spaces to a land that doesn't fit into the master scheme, that doesn't free up the 2.5, 2.59, and once you shift those and get rid of that lease, you can combine it with the 1.24 for a project that we don't even know what it is. And I'm not inclined to let that happen until I know what's going to happen on that land.
We're not sure what's gonna happen on the land. What I do know,
Then we
what I
can,
do know is that nobody, not me or anybody else, will ever buy that land with that parking lease on there. It's absolutely worthless with a 90-year lease at $1 a year.
It's also
Right.
contaminated.
I understand, and I understand what you're trying to do. All right, and I understand that that land is worthless, but why do you need a variance for a project we don't even know what it's gonna be? When you decide what you want to do, you can come before us and it makes a lot more sense then. But to me, it doesn't make any sense. It's just shifting the burden so that you can combine the land and then you got a much bigger piece of land to do whatever you want to do there, which is fine. But I'm not gonna give a variance when I don't even know what the project is.
But
Okay, Barry, can I interject here? So just factual information. Last month, Councilor Joel Saslaw, who is the councilor of Ward 5, where this is going, had a meeting at one of the hotels on Route 1 to tell the neighbors what was going to be built on that land. And it was something to the effect of 3 apartment buildings with about 200 odd apartments. So my question, and really it pains me to listen to this when you're telling me, or you're telling the board, we don't know what we're going to build, but Councilor Sasslaw has already told whoever showed up at that meeting and neighbors, what we're going to build apartments, and it's going to be landscaped, and we're going to have 200 odd people living there with kid, blah, blah, blah. And so I don't know. And
Totally.
that's not a lie. That's the truth. I was
No,
invited.
yes.
I did not go.
Correct. And it's a totally different piece of land.
Totally different.
The land that was being discussed at that meeting is the residential subdivision that is beyond everything showing on this plan. So there were,
But are you going to need access, or whomever, to enter that piece of property?
We do have the access. We have it on the easement on the plan that you're looking at right now.
that crosshatch area.
That comes from Newbury Street up, takes an angle turn, and then goes up to the residential piece in the back.
So,
But only-
okay, so the fact of the matter is, I have to agree with Barry as far as the variance tonight is for like some purpose in
The
the future.
variance tonight is to build the 2 parking lots that are shown on the plan. That's all.
Okay,
That's all. And it's just so you understand, and I apologize for referring to Heather and Fawn as the girls. I apologize. They're great girls. They're working with us. They're
Great
satisfied.
women.
I'm sorry, just said it again. I need to remove that lease or the land is worthless. They're more than satisfied with the plan. The plan you're looking at, they've seen, I've met with them 3 or 4 times. I mean, they'd be glad to come on a Zoom meeting, but it's not really necessary. It's me that's looking for the variance.
To build those parking lots.
Right. They are actually,
They can't be built without the variance because they're within 100 feet of residentially zoned property.
and the other thing is that the original agreement they have, the original lease would give them an additional 55 spaces over there in front of the billiards building.
it would give the ultimate extra spaces?
Not on us. No, the lease that they have now, the existing lease now,
Which I don't know who's ever seen that, but go ahead.
the original owner of Lot 1 and the whole project, which is now South Pike, owns Lot 2 and 3. He made the agreement when they bought they own the whole second floor of 130,
Right.
and that's a condominium. They needed additional space, parking spaces, because when they had their big boom in the spring and whenever, they needed extra spaces. To make the deal happen, Mr. Marchese gave them that lease in front of the pool hall building, the billiards building,
Never built it.
and never built it. That was 7 years ago. It was December 31st, 2013. He's never built it. He's never gonna build it. He's got health issues. He's just never gonna be able to do it. And I'm willing to do that. But I need to be, and they're gonna have, if we get approved here, they're gonna have 20 spaces less, not more. They're not getting additional spaces. And they're willing to accept that because they know that South Pike is never gonna build them. I'm not gonna buy it, so I'm not gonna build them because it's worthless. And the apartment building in the back, which is a whole separate issue, has nothing to do with what I'm looking at. And that's what that meeting at the hotel was a week or so ago, a couple of weeks ago. That was a meeting to have the neighbors come in, which they come in. They had their questions. And one of the big questions was, were they gonna have access egress out onto Winona Street, which they are not. The developers that we are under agreement with on that back piece, on the residential piece, have agreed not to have to be a fire exit egress only.
Right, and that also brings up another issue, which we cannot and will not discuss tonight because it's not relevant.
Right.
The safety factor of buses, et cetera, on that upper part of Route 1. And I know an argument could be, well, we have mobile home parks all up and down Route 1, further down where the buses come in and out. But this is where this is being proposed. It's a little different situation. You know, I think you have more traffic. You have people coming out of Winona trying to get in onto Route 1, you know, break down lanes, buses, you know, okay, so the residents don't want in and out of Winona Street, but you're going to have in and out onto Route 1, which is already a little dangerous. It's dangerous to come out of Winona Street to get onto Route 1. Now it's going to be Winona Street and then another entrance and, you know, exit out. You know, I'm just saying, we're not going to discuss that tonight. It's just something to think about.
That wouldn't be us coming before you. We have it under agreement right now with a major national developer, and they will have to come before you because that will have to be a comprehensive permit. So they're going to be a ways away before they even come to you. So that's, again, what we're not here for tonight. So
right. All right. So do we have anybody else from the board that wants to talk about this little variance that they're asking for? Go ahead, Ed.
Fran, as you may know, the other board members may not know, I am probably the closest board member to this development. Like a lot of people, I've looked at that land since it was raised and destroyed 10, 11 years ago. And I have been to this site a couple of times now on my own. I went there this summer when I heard all the blasting and construction that was going on. It piqued my curiosity living nearby. I went into the development unannounced. I drove up onto the construction site in my car and I met a construction equipment operator who told me what was going on and that I could meet that gentleman over there, and pointed to a car which had Jim Sheridan in it. I never met Jim Sheridan before. He told me as a neighbor what was going on and explained it to me. I told him I was retired from the construction trades all my life. And he took out the set of drawings that we're all looking at now, and he explained it to me, what he was trying to do. And I've been there 2 or 3 times now, a couple of times on my own. I even brought my wife with me one time because she was curious. And we parked in lot 2 in front of the abandoned recreational building. And I explained to her what was going on, and all they wanted to do was move this over there with some parking spaces, because that will free up the demolition of that building. Yes, you're right. It may free up land in the back in the future, but I've been looking at that, and a lot of people have been looking at that for years. A lot of people on Owner Street have had problems with the flooding there. And I'm just in favor of what Jim is trying to do. And if it means a year or 2 or 3 down the road that land way back becomes housing or becomes a medical building or becomes anything, it's going to clear up the mess that everybody sees now driving down Route 1 and going in and out of Honeydew Donut and the dress shop and the Chinese restaurant next door. It is an eyesight. I know they've already cleaned up some of it, but personally, from a resident and as a board member, even though I do not vote tonight, I'm in favor of this zoning. Now, the fact that who owns what, it makes sense to me. Mr. Sheridan is not going to buy a piece of land that is useless, and it becomes useless unless he can move the parking spaces over. So to me, it all makes, basically, no offense to anybody, to me, it's kind of common sense of what he's trying to do. Now,
Okay.
Barry is not wrong with his concern of who owns what and when and how this is all going to work, but every piece of land is going to get developed. All right.
Okay.
There's no more land. There's just people knock down buildings to build new buildings. So this is a place that's going to get developed, and personally, I'm in favor of it.
Okay. Thank you, Ed.
If I could?
Yep.
Ed, I certainly understand and I respect your many years in the construction business, and maybe it does make sense. But the only thing that my concern is, and maybe it's petty, is that, yes, all right, somewhere down the road, something might happen. What if it's a by right use that is just catastrophic to the neighborhood? What if we enabled them to combine that land, and now that land can support a by right use that just no one will have any interest in?
Well,
Could I
the
just
land's
make a
not gonna-
point? Could I
Yeah.
make a point that the arrangement we have with the apartment people, there's a whole list that they gave us, it's in the agreement of what we cannot do there. And they're not gonna let anything, they're first-class apartment operators throughout the whole country. They're not gonna let us do anything there, and I'll be glad to share that with you. I don't have it with me tonight, what cannot go there. And it's pretty comprehensive. They're gonna be having a first-class project up there. That entrance with that pool hall building there and getting landscaping in there, when we get to the actual final plans for the self-storage, is gonna look more like an office building than self-storage. And everything's gonna be heavily landscaped. So it's important to the apartment people in the back that that entrance is all cleaned up. So tearing that building down, which we wanna do within the next 4 to 6 weeks, is get that building torn down, which I can't do unless I own it. I can't buy it with that lease on there. But I'll be glad to share with you. I can email it to wherever tomorrow morning of what cannot go there based on the agreement with the apartment people.
Okay, and I guess maybe, I wish you had told me when I kept drilling into, you don't know what's gonna go. Well, you knew what you were gonna do with part of the land. You've got agreements with this national developer. And what
Right.
scared me the most is when you said it's gonna be a comprehensive permit. Well, there's no application for a comprehensive permit before this board, all right? And I don't know why they couldn't build affordable rate units up there. I don't know, maybe it's gonna be a comprehensive. But our history is with comprehensive permits is they try to put more than should go in there. And then it becomes a fight between us and the developer. All right, because they're not gonna come in and give us the minimum amount or the amount that the neighbors think would be the proper amount. They're gonna come in and give us the maximum amount that they can put onto that property. Okay, and that's what scares me a little bit. What you wanna do is fine, and maybe that's not your fight. That's their fight down the road, and I understand that, all right? I'm just trying to protect that piece of land. If you think it makes sense and the other members of the board thinks it makes sense, fine. All I'm trying to do is raise some points to say that it's a slippery slope. Yeah, it might seem like 12 parking spaces now, but down the road, what could it be? And it does, it makes sense, Ed, to move those parking spaces, but what's it mean in the future? I'll listen, I'll be quiet. I'll listen to what the rest of the board has to say, and we'll make a decision there. Thank you.
Through the
Okay.
chair, if I may.
Yes,
So, Attorney Kelty, I just have a couple questions. Who owns lot number 1? I can't find that.
There are two owners. There are the women that own the Ultimate. And there is a gentleman who owns all of the units on the first floor and any storage in the basement. So there are two owners.
And the spots that are on lot 2, are those spots currently lined, or is this just a lease that's just not really used? It's just
It's
holding up.
correct. There is nothing out there. There are not spaces devoted. They were never built, and this is a way of completing that.
So this may not be something you're able to answer, but if possible, I'd like to know is what, if any, conversations have been held between the owners of lot 1, specifically the Ultimate, and the owners of lot 2 about coming to some kind of agreement, arrangement, or whatever to either vacate an unused lease agreement or somehow make it work. To me, it seems like it's more of a contractual issue than it is a zoning issue.
I've talked with both owners. Sanjay Sud is the owner of the first floor, which is where the Honeydew is. He owns the Honeydew. He owns the whole first floor and the entire basement. He's the majority owner. I've talked with him. He understands what we're trying to do. He has no problem with it. He gave us a letter, which you have with you. We submitted last meeting. I've talked with Heather and Fawn The owners of the Ultimate, they own the entire second floor. They're both in agreement. Again, you have letters from both of them. They're in agreement. The Ultimate Shop, they know that the spaces that they have in the lease are never going to get built, that the current owner is not going to build them. He's not capable of building them. The lease is 7 years old. Nothing's ever happened. As I said earlier, he's in not good health. He's not going to do it. He wants to sell it. And I've made arrangements with the girls. I cannot put it into writing with them yet because I don't own it. And they're willing to accept what we're proposing here. And they're going to be getting 20 spaces less than they would have had before, but they're willing to accept it.
So I guess this is it's just, and forgive me, to me, it doesn't, and no disrespect to anybody else on the board, but to me, it doesn't make a difference. I'm not looking at what's behind it, what's to the left of it, and what's wherever. I'm just more looking at it as if we just had someone coming to us that was looking to purchase lot 2 and somebody else owned lot 1. And then lot 1 says, yeah, we're in favor of getting our parking spots that we haven't used for 7 years that are part of a contract with the current owner of lot 2. To me, it just seems like it's an issue that lot number 1's owners are forcing upon you through no fault of your own, but they're forcing this upon you. This could be resolved by just them saying, we have a useless lease on the other land. We don't need these spots. We never use them. We understand we're holding this up. Let's work out some kind of deal. Maybe it's not spots, maybe it's money. But that's just kind of my look at it, that it seems like it's more of a contractual money issue. And I don't understand why the owners of lot 1 are forcing you to try to get a variance on their land. So I don't see it as much of an issue in the back. That's just, maybe I'm being dense on it, but that's my problem. I see the problem with lot 1.
I have to agree with you, Stephen, on that. So, and I know you've talked to the Ultimate girls, and you don't have to keep repeating that and blah blah blah. But yeah, that's a good point.
They're not forcing us. They didn't come to us. I went to them.
Well, why don't they just back off and say they'll forego that lease?
They're not going to do that without getting some spaces.
But they don't use.
You just said that they're losing spaces.
They're going to lose 20 spaces from what they would have got. They would have got around
On that lease.
On the lease. They would have got an additional 55 spaces.
But do they actively use them on lot 2 right now?
What's that?
No.
Right. So
They
they're
don't
not.
use them on lot 2, do they? No.
Attorney Kelty and Mr. Sheridan, I'm not upset with you two at all here. To me, what's upsetting me is that they have unused parking spaces and they are trying to wield a 90-year lease over your head to get you to do their dirty work. And maybe I'm mischaracterizing that. And if I am, I apologize. But that's my issue.
It's just the opposite. I went to them. They thought, the Ultimate thought they were still going to get those 55 spaces in front of the pool hall building. And that's not going to happen. The current owner, that lease is, as I said, that lease is 7 years old. He's done nothing, nor is he ever going to do anything. I'm the one that will give them the spaces, but I can't do it in front of that building. I can't have 55 spaces in front of that building. It makes that building, that property worthless. Lot 2 would be worthless. So I went to them. They didn't come to me.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not driving this deal. Jim is driving the deal in order to resolve that issue to their satisfaction. And we would give them spaces that are more usable because of their proximity to their facility.
Okay.
And the other main reason is we want to get that building torn down also.
Okay.
Kind of an obligation we have to anything that gets built up in the back. So the building's an eyesore. The entire city wants that building taken down and cleaned up. And we're going to grade it. We're going to make it clean looking, and then we'll see whether we're going to develop it or we'll sell it to somebody. But if we sell it to somebody else to develop it, I am going to control what gets on there. So,
Okay. Go ahead, Barry.
Just so when you relocate these spaces, right, you're going to retain actual ownership of the land. Are you gonna lease them those spaces under the conditions of the existing lease? Are you gonna give them another lease? Are you just gonna say, you can park, I own the land, but you can park there?
I'm separating that lot out, and I may do one or two things. We may do a lease, or we may just sell it to them for $1. We'll put in all the parking spaces, we'll do all the landscaping, we'll stripe it, and then I'll just sell it to them for $1, and then they're responsible. Or if they don't want to do that for some reason, then we'll do a lease with them. But it'll be on their side of the road, and I can get that building torn down in the front.
All right, that's a little more palatable for me, if you're willing to do that. Thank you.
Okay, anybody in the audience that is here to speak on this evening? Anybody at all? I don't think we have anybody. So I think we've discussed
Wanna
this.
ask
Oh,
the caller?
anybody, 617-281-6949. Are you here for this meeting? For this petition? If you are, unmute yourself, please. Don't think so. Okay, so we heard this last month. We heard some more this month. I know that I've been by many, many times. I think it's the matter is before the board.
I'll make a motion to approve.
How about close the public hearing?
Oh, that would help, huh? I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second,
Now I'll make a motion to approve.
second,
Roll call vote.
Dan,
No,
Julie,
no,
Barry,
No,
Stephen,
No.
Fran,
No. The motion is denied. You'll hear from Carla tomorrow. We're now moving on to number 3, applicant of Manny Bettencourt.
notice is hereby given that the Board of Appeals of the City of Peabody will hold a public hearing via Zoom remote participation on, I've got Monday, October 19th, but it should be November 16th, at 7 p.m. on the application of Manny Bettencourt, care of Attorney Vonsalitis, for a variance from the provision of the zoning ordinance 2019 as amended section 7.2, as it applies to the premises known as 33 Elm Street, Peabody, map 75, lot 202. Petitioner seeks a variance to convert a single family to a 2-family home and requires relief to the front yard setbacks minimum lot dimension and modification to a previously granted variance with condition that does not allow for parking to be located to the right side of the dwelling. The property is located in an R2 zoning district. The application and plan are available to the public and can be viewed by contacting Carla McGrath at carla.mcgrath@peabodymass.gov or 978-538-5792 in advance and prior to the public hearing. The agenda for this meeting and instructions on how to access the remote participation platform are posted on the City of Peabody website.
Attorney Vonsalitis. Good evening. Unmute yourself, please. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
And I'm not at the city council, I'm at the right hearing.
yes, you are.
All right, well, for the record, I'm Ethan Vonsalitis. I'm an attorney practicing law at 246 Andover Street in Peabody, and I am here on behalf of the applicant with respect to his variance request. The existing dwelling at 33 Elm Street is a one-story split entry style home. It was constructed pursuant to the benefit of a variance issued way back in October of 1985. Now, this dwelling is in the R2 zoning district, or basically the 2-family zoning district. It contains 5 rooms, so 3 of those rooms are bedrooms. It has 2 full baths and a living room and a kitchen. And it has about 2,000 square feet of living area. If you're familiar with this area, you would note that all of the abutting homes to this property, along with basically all the surrounding homes, are 2-family or multi-family dwellings, which in essence kind of leaves the single family out of character to the surrounding neighborhood. In addition, as you can see from the assessor's map, I believe I attached a copy to our application. All of the surrounding multiple family homes have been constructed on lots that contain less than the 7,500 square feet of area that's required. There is currently obviously a demand for apartments in the city of Peabody. There isn't a great demand for renting single family residences with 3 bedrooms. And the reason that we are here this evening is Mr. Bettencourt desires to convert the single family into a 2-family dwelling by creating a 2-bedroom apartment on the lower level and a 2-bedroom apartment on the upper level. The upper level apartment will contain about 950 square feet of living area. The lower level apartment will contain approximately 915 square feet of living area. Each apartment is going to consist of a master bedroom, a 2nd bedroom, 1 full bath, along with a living room and a kitchen. I think it is important to note with respect to this conversion is that any required revisions to the dwelling are going to be limited to the interior of the building. There's not going to be any increase in the size of the building. We're not going to increase the height of the building through the use of dormers. We're not going to increase the width of the building. In other words, there's not going to be any type of expansion to the existing home. And as you can see from the site plan, there's already a paved parking area for up to 4 motor vehicles. If our request is approved, the end result is basically going to be a totally renovated and updated 2-family dwelling. It'd be more in keeping with the surrounding homes that are found there. And in fact, Mr. Bettencourt happens to own 2 of the abutting properties at 31 and 27 Elm Street, and they are also 2-family homes. I do have Mr. Bettencourt hopefully participating in this meeting, and together we'll try to answer any questions that either the board or the public may have. Thank you.
I have a few. And what did you say, Ethan? You're not surprised?
Fran, I've never known you to be silent.
So this was conditioned in 1985 as a single-family home with no parking on the right. Is that correct?
That is correct. That happens to be one of the first variances I did before the Board of Appeals because I started practicing in 1984. I did that variance for an elderly woman who owned the property. And the next door neighbor, I'm going off of memory, our site plan had shown the right side yard as being paved. And he asked if we would not do that, and we agreed. That was 35, 40 years ago. Just so you know, Mr. Bettencourt now owns that abutting home.
Yes. So, do you have a hardship here?
Basically, it's the size of the lot.
Basically, we like that term. Basically, is that like I presume?
I presume.
So we condition that no parking on the right. Since
Yes.
you did this 30 odd years ago, could you just restate again why we conditioned no parking on the right?
I'm going off of memory. This was back in 86 or 85. But it was because the person who owned the dwelling on the right-hand side did not want the parking facility that our original site plan had on it. So we agreed that we would delete that. We would not have any parking there. Again, that was 30-something years ago. Mr. Bettencourt, who's the petitioner, now owns that abutting home.
And does Mr. Bettencourt live in this house right now?
He does not. Nope. I believe he lives in Groveland.
So making a 2-family house, this is solely for financial gain?
Improvements to the property. It's a much older home and you'd like to be able to renovate the entire dwelling, and it's just more beneficial to be a 2-family, so that's in conformance to all the other abutting properties.
I think it's newer than the other houses that he owns.
Maybe.
I'm going to open this up to other members of the board right now.
Through the chair, if I could. To Attorney Bonzilides, Ethan, if the condition is no parking to the right side of the house, why are the parking spaces on the right side of the house?
Because when Mr. Bettencourt purchased this, which wasn't all that long ago, I'd have to go through my file and see the deed. Obviously, the closing attorney didn't say, well, here's a variance. You're prohibited from doing X. At that time, he already owned the abutting property to the right, so he created the parking there for the benefit of both structures without realizing that there was an old variance on record that prohibited that.
So so he's in violation of the variance.
Which was a condition to benefit himself now that he owns that abutting property.
So he owns.
It's sort of like a moot point. Now it works more beneficially because he owns that abutting property.
That's a moot point, is your opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, my opinion doesn't count for anything.
Well, no, I mean,
Sometimes.
It's a good proposal. You're gonna end up with a totally renovated home.
I'm not doubting that, but it's kind of strange that all the parking.
It could happen to you. You go to buy a home, it was constructed pursuant to a variance that was granted in the 70s or the 80s. You're purchasing it in the year 2012 or whatever. And the closing attorney doesn't specifically say, oh, here's a variance, this is a decision, here's conditions. And that's what happened to Mr. Bettencourt.
I hope you weren't the closing attorney as you were starting out your law career there.
And come on now, let's, you would hope that all of this would be disclosed when you buy a piece of property. This was a variance and it is on record, and don't say that, oh, well, yeah, this was just ignorance. It was, there's a variance here.
Yes, I'm not saying it was ignorance. I'm saying that Mr. Bettencourt wasn't shown the variance, decision and the restrictions on it when he purchased the property, which is not uncommon at all. I do a lot of closings where properties are subject to special permits and variances. I may take exception when I issue an owner's title insurance policy on the property, but you're not necessarily going over the decision with the buyer, especially if you're just representing the lender.
Okay.
So Mr. Zelotes has to leave us at this point.
I can stay until the end of this vote, Fran.
Oh, you can? Okay. Okay, great. And when Mr. Zelotes leaves, Mr. Colbert, you will have voting privileges this evening. Okay.
I looked at my file. He bought this in 2014, Fran.
Okay. Do we have any more comments or questions by the board? How about anybody in the audience? Hearing none, the matter is before the board.
I believe a couple of butters submitted letters of support.
They were late. We can't hear them. We can't read them.
Wow. No late ads.
No late, nothing, Come on now. We love you, Ethan, but we can't make an exception just for you.
Oh, God, I'm elderly now. You realize that.
Not as elderly as I am. All right, matter is before the board. We're getting way off topic.
Motion to close.
Second.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Dan,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes. You're all set.
Thank
Your
you
motion
very-
has been approved.
Thank you very much.
Stephen, you're welcome. Stephen, we'll see you. Take
Thank
care.
you.
We'll see you next month.
Good night, everyone.
The next meeting is December 7th.
Nice.
King Street.
Wow, she's gonna give us a week off. Wow.
Take it easy. I could change my mind right now. Number 4 is Mr. Attorney Bonzalides again. It is D.M. Cole, trustee.
Notice is hereby given that the Board of Appeals of the City of Peabody will hold a public hearing via Zoom remote participation on Monday, November 16th, 2020, 7 p.m. on the application of DM Cole, 2019, trustees, care of attorney Ethan Bonzalides, for variance from the provision of the zoning ordinance 2019 as amended section 7.2 as it applies to the premises known as 16 Walker Road, Peabody, map 85, lot 201A. Petitioner seeks a variance for an addition and open deck to rear of home and requires relief to the rear yard setback where 35 feet is required and 22.8 feet is proposed. Left side yard where 15 feet is required and 8.1 feet is proposed. Right side yard where 15 feet is required and 5.3 feet is proposed. And lot coverage where 35% is allowed and 42.4% is proposed. Property is located in an R4 zoning district. The application and plan are available to the public and can be viewed by contacting Carl McGrath at carlo.mcgrath@pvmass.gov or 978-538-5792 in advance of part of the public hearing. The agenda for this meeting and instructions on how to access the remote participation platform are posted on the City of Peabody website.
Okay, Attorney Bonzilides.
Well, good evening again. For the record, I'm Nathan Bonzilides. I'm an attorney practicing law at 246 Andover Street in the famous city of Peabody. And I'm here this evening on behalf of the applicant. Mr. Cole has owned this property since 1974, and he constructed his home on the lot in 1986. He's lived here now for the last 34 years, and now he and his wife desire to remain in the dwelling during their retirement years. Their existing home is a 1.5 story, what would you call it, single family home, which contains about 1,800 square feet of living area. Due to the age of the home, they desire to make a variety of renovations to the property, one of which is to be able to construct at the rear of their home an approximately 390 square foot sunroom, along with an unenclosed deck, basically just as shown on the plan that was submitted with the application. Our property is in a unique zoning district, taking into consideration that almost all the homes on Walker Road happen to be single family. Our property is in the R4 zoning district, which is a multiple family district. And as the board probably knows, that zoning district requires 30,000 square feet per lot in order to be buildable. However, as you can see from the assessor's map, and I believe I attached a copy to our application, almost all the lots in this neighborhood only consist of anywhere between 5,000 and 6,000 square feet. And as a result, no property owner in this neighborhood can really make any type of significant improvement to their property without some form of variance relief, which in my opinion creates a substantial hardship to the applicant. As I stated in the application, the existing dwelling was constructed with the benefit of a variance, which was granted in 1986. With respect to the proposed sunroom and the deck, this addition is going to have a larger side yards than what the existing dwelling has. And with respect to the rear yard, our rear yard abuts the Calvary Baptist Church's parking lot. So in essence, I believe the requested relief can be granted without having any type of adverse effect to any of the abutting property owners. As I stated earlier, the applicants have been long-term Peabody residents. They desire to remain here during their retirement years, and they're basically just looking to improve and to modernize their home. I hopefully have Mr. Cole participating in this meeting, and together we'll try to answer any questions again that the board or the public may have.
Thank you. Questions by the board?
And this may be a coincidence, but I also did the variance in 1986 on this property.
You're batting 1,000 tonight, Mr. Bonzilides.
Doesn't happen too often.
Any questions, comments, concerns by the board? Anybody in the audience to speak on this petition? We do have some letters that were submitted. I'm sure we all read them. They all were in favor. Nobody in the audience. No more questions by the board. Mr. Bonzilides, you did a wonderful job presenting. The matter is.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Dan,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Ed. Ed,
Ed, you're muted.
Yes, okay.
Fran,
Yes. All set, the motion is approved, the petition is approved. You will hear from Carla tomorrow. Carla McGrath is our
If I don't see you guys, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving and have a safe one.
Good luck on your knee surgery.
Oh, yeah, you heard, huh?
Not much gets by me, you know that.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'll see you on December 14th, though.
Okay,
All right,
let's hope so.
goodbye.
Okay, number 5 is Joseph Flax.
Notice is hereby given that the Board of Appeals of the City of Peabody will hold a public hearing via Zoom remote participation on Monday, November 16, 2020, 7 p.m. on the application of Joseph Flax for a variance from the provision of the zoning ordinance 2019 as amended section 7.2 and 10.5 as it applies to the premises known as 11 Leonard Road, Peabody, map 105, lot 27. Petitioner seeks a variance to construct a single-family dwelling and requires relief to the front yard setback where 25 feet is required and 12.2 feet is proposed. The side yard setback where 20 feet is required and 8.5 feet is proposed. Side yard where 20 feet is required and 15.2 feet is proposed. Minimum buildable lot area where 10,000 square feet is required and 9,314 square feet is proposed. And landscaping with two street trees are required and none are proposed. This property is located in R1B zoning district. The application and plan are available to the public and can be viewed by contacting Kyle McGrath at kyle.mcgrath@pbdmass.gov or 978-538-5792 in advance of part of the public hearing. The agenda for this meeting and instructions on how to access the remote participation platform are posted on the City of Peabody website.
Okay. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, this is Dawn Marie Lorman Flack, and we have our architect, Joe Luna, who's going to speak on our behalf.
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah. Very good. My name is Joe Luna. My company's name is Luna Design Group. We are the project architects for the Flax. My office is located at 100 Conifer, C-O-N-I-F-E-R, Hill Drive, Suite 406 in Danvers, 01923. The project involves the tear down of a pre-existing house on a non-conforming lot. It's mentioned in the description of the variance. We have an existing lot of 9,314 feet with a required lot square footage of 10,000 square feet. This is a corner lot located on the corner of Leonard Road and Demore Terrace. So we have 2 front yards to deal with and 2 additional side yards. Rear is really not applicable on this. Our plan is to knock down a dilapidated house that's, I believe, in excess of 60, 70 years old. It's a poor construction and construct a new 3.5 or 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath split level home on the site. We are requesting variance relief, basically due to the site shape. With the required setbacks, this only gives us an allowable house width of 20 feet, which is too narrow for a 2-car garage, a standard 2-car garage. We're also looking for the relief on the footprint size because we have a high water table on this, which dictated the split level design. We can't put anything down in the basement. So that pretty much dictated how the house in terms of what style house that we put on the site. We have gone and designed what we feel is an attractive house that gives a lot of architectural modulation on the primary facade on Leonard Road. We've moved the driveway from Leonard Road to Demore Terrace. The closest setback, I should point out, on Leonard Road is not to the primary structure, but to the open entry porch. The main body of the house is set back 21 feet 2 inches. It's still non-conforming to the front yard setback, but the 12.2 feet is to the covered porch. The back or the side where we have 8.5 feet for a required setback of 20 feet. That is to an open basically porch that steps down into the yard. My clients have shown the project to a number of the neighbors. We have 11 letters of support supporting the project as being attractive addition to the neighborhood, and definitely not detrimental. We offer any other questions the board may have regarding the project, or my comments, or any comments my clients may want to have.
I just have the board want to tell the board that if this should be approved, we need to approve it with the condition that the applicant seeks approval from all departments that are permitting this on the website.
Okay.
Conservation is quite concerned about this, engineering. So I don't know how far anybody, I know we all went to go look at it, but all the departments really need to be in on this, as I'm sure the builder knows, all the permitting departments. So that really does need to be a condition. And all those departments are listed on the website, the building website.
Yes, I understand.
Any comments or questions from the board or from the audience?
Hi, my name is Joe Flack, and I'm the homeowner out there on 11 Leonard Road. I just wanted to let you know that I have been in contact with all the departments, conservation, engineering, fire, and I will follow up with all their requests and needs. I'm also a site contractor that does a lot of work in the city of Peabody and the surrounding cities. I'm well aware of what has to go, the process of getting permitted and everything else. So I have no problem. And one more thing I wanted to add was when I talked to Will, city engineer, his concern was the sight line, moving the driveway, and we're going to be removing the existing fence that's there, which is going to increase the sight line. So he was very happy to hear that, and along with the other neighbors that are on Demore, they were also happy to hear that the fence will be coming down.
So it looks like you've done your homework, and it looks like this will be a wonderful project. We just need to see what the board members would like to do at this point. Any other questions or comments? If none, the matter is before the board. If none, the matter is before the board.
Move to close public hearing.
Julie second.
Julie, go
Sorry, I'm
ahead.
trying to second. I have this new computer.
Okay,
Move to approve, condition on the fact that the owners get approval from all pertinent department heads and work with the city as far as the construction of the new home. So moved.
Second.
great. Roll call vote.
Dan,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Fran.
Yes, motion is approved. You'll hear from Carla McGrath, the clerk, tomorrow. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Have a good night.
You too, thank you. And last on the agenda is Christopher LeBlanc, 50 Ellsworth Road.
Notice is hereby given to the Board of Appeals of the City of Peabody will hold a public hearing via Zoom remote participation on Monday, November 16, 2020, 7 p.m. on the application of Christopher LeBlanc for a variance from the provision of the zoning ordinance 2019 as amended section 7.2 as it applies to the premises known as 50 Ellsworth Road, Peabody, Mass. Map 74, lot 146. Petitioner seeks a variance for an addition and requires relief to the left side yard setback where 15 feet is required and 7.5 feet is proposed. Lot coverage where 30% is allowed and 34% is proposed. The property is located in R1A zoning district. The application and plan are available to the public and can be viewed by contacting Carla McGrath or carla.mcgrath at peabodymass.gov or 978-538-5792. In advance and prior to the public hearing, the agenda for this meeting and instructions on how to access the remote participation platform are posted on the City of Peabody website.
Okay, are you here? Mr.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, you might
So
present.
I'm Christopher LeBlanc with at 50 Ellsworth Road. I'm the homeowner representing myself. We're looking to replace an unsafe existing deck in our backyard and adding some square footage to that to extend to the edge of the house. That's where the variance is going to be needed. Since we live in New England, I'm thinking where it's, snows and the weather's very unpredictable usually. We would like to, cover the deck and make it more usable. This is pretty basic deck, nothing more than that.
Sure. Questions or comments by anybody? We have somebody on the phone. 617-281-6494. Are you here for this?
I am, Madam Clerk. Madam Chairwoman, this is Jared Hockman. How are you? 52 Ellsworth Road.
Go ahead, Jared.
I'm going to be very brief tonight. I know you like hearing my voice, but I'm going to be brief. I'm an immediate abutter to this property. I'm speaking in favor of it. The deck is going to go up to the edge of the house where it currently doesn't. So there's really not that much of an encroachment on the property. And the LeBlancs are wonderful neighbors. They do great things for the community, and I'm all in favor of this.
Thank you, Mr. Hockman. Anybody else? Okay, matters before the board.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Dan,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes, you have been approved. Good luck with that. You will hear from the clerk, Carla McGrath, tomorrow, and that's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We do have a 6-month extension from SAS Capital Management that was in your package. They are asking for an extension. We can give them 6 months. That would bring us up to June 17th, 2021. If I may have a motion for that?
Is it June 17th or is it May 17th? If we granted the variance on December 17th of 2019.
April, May, June. December, January, February, March, April, May, June. 6 months?
so December to January, January to February, February to March, March to April,
April to May, May to June.
Okay, so June and it hasn't expired yet, right? It's expiring
correct.
next month? Okay,
Yes.
okay. All right, that's all I had.
Okay, so can I have a motion to,
Motion to approve the extension request until May 17th, 2021.
June.
Let's try that one again. COVID's getting to me too. Motion to approve the extension request for 6 months until June 17th, 2021.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now we need a motion to accept the minutes, last month's minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I need a motion to accept the dates for our meeting for next year. You all got that in your package? Yes.
Well, last year's, Fran, we got something that looked just like this, except it was missing about 30 meetings.
Yeah, exactly.
But who knew that you could attend all the 55 meetings in the comfort of your own home? Now tell me that you really would love to come to City Hall and get out of your house now, right?
That's right.
Motion to approve these meeting dates?
Okay, motion to approve the meeting dates.
I'll second Julie's motion.
Great.
Aye.
Yes, yes. Okay, everybody, so that wraps up our meeting. However, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. However, Thanksgiving looks for you this year. It's going to be extremely quiet in my house, not happy about it at all. And we will be meeting December 7th, and that will be on 15 King Street. And we'll take it from there.
And then the 14th after that.
And then the 14th after that. And I wish I could say we're having a holiday Christmas party, but I guess not.
We
can do
doing
it
a
on
holiday
Zoom.
Zoom?
What did you say, Dan?
Are we doing a holiday Zoom or is there some Zoom fatigue on this board?
We're going to, once this is all lifted and we can all get together, we are going to have a party a month. How's that?
That's right.
Okay.
Whoa. Whoa.
Paula.
I guess I need unfortunately, I need a motion to adjourn. I hate to leave you all. I really do.
Unfortunately. Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Let's let Keith second it so we can get in the minutes for next month.
Go ahead, Keith, second it.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, yay.
Yay.
Okay,
Night,
thank
everybody.
you very much. Thank you. And
Bye.
have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Ciao.